Profit and loss statement. What is that? Hey taxpayers, today I want to talk to you about one of the most important financial statements you should be receiving as a business owner every single month. It is critical for you to be receiving this document every single month, for you to know and be able to make the best decisions for your business. Sometimes this document is referred to as an income statement or the famous P&L statement. This document basically shows whether you earned money or lost money in that particular period. The formula for a P&L is pretty simple. You've got your income, your cost of goods sold, your expenses, and your net income. And essentially, we're taking the income and we're minusing the cost of goods sold and the expenses to arrive at your net income. You can analyze a P&L over any given period, a year, a quarter, a month, even a week. In my opinion, the biggest insight you gain from a P&L is comparing it to another period. For example, many times when we compare a P&L from this year to last year, your revenue may have gone up, which is super exciting. But if your expenses are going up at the same rate or faster, that could be pretty concerning. And you won't know that unless you're comparing the P&L from this period to the last. So follow me as we go through a fictitious company's P&L up on the screen. All right, so the company we're analyzing on our screen has sales, services, and other income totaling $177,000. We typically call this type of income top line because it's your income at the top. A lot of time when we're in conversations about income, we always ask, are you referring to your top line or to your bottom line? Are you referring to your gross revenue or your net revenue? Because we need to understand what number we're really discussing. So this is your top line revenue. Now on this P&L, you'll note that there's no cost of goods sold, which is typical of a company that only has services, right? Because if you have or provide services, you don't have an input cost other than wages. And wages are typically an overhead expense. Cost of goods sold for product-based businesses are going to be the cost of the product, right? What it costed them to either purchase it for resale or manufacture it. When we talk about expenses, sometimes you hear the word overhead or overhead expenses. This is basically all of the indirect costs you incur to producing your service or product. Think, for example, the telephone costs, the rent costs, the advertising costs. These costs are indirectly related to producing the product or service you sell. Over time, we want to see overhead remain fixed or a gradual increase. When we see sharp increases in overhead, it might be a company that is scaling dramatically, but it also might be a company that doesn't have a handle on their costs. And lastly, we arrive at our net income, and this business clearly has a profit of approximately $60,000. This is their bottom line income. So when I talk to a business owner and they say, I made $60,000 this year, and I say top line or bottom line, and they say bottom line, I say, okay, I know what we're talking about. We're talking about income after all the expenses. Now, I just want to make a few more comments. When I look at overhead, I like to look at the top 3 expenses that are the highest. And when we talk about shaving expenses or finding room to decrease expenses, we want to tackle the biggest ones first. How can we renegotiate or look at spending less in these 3 key areas? Another important thing to note is that your bottom line income number isn't necessarily how much cash came into your business. That's where you're going to look at your cash flow statement. It's possible you could have taken that $60,000 and paid down debt, which would have been a balance sheet activity and which would only show holistically in a cash flow statement. So do you analyze your profit and loss statement every month? Do you typically compare it to another period? What periods do you compare it to? Tell us in the comments below. We love chatting with you. Hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook at Accounting to Scale. Until the next video, your favorite CPA, Tiffany Gonzalez.